Cześć, tu Zuzia.
Cześć, jestem Iza.
Cześć, mam na imię Kasia.
I zapraszamy na lekcję. So we want to thank you for watching our channel, watching our lessons, and to celebrate we thought we would do a Q&A lesson. So we'll do all of this in English because the questions that we got from you were also in English. So let's just begin right away. Zaczynamy.
Zaczynajmy. Let's then start with the first question that we got from our viewers, one of our viewers. I heard that Polish names change depending on the sentence, up to 4 versions of each name. How does that work? So Iza, this one is for you.
Okay, so I'm just wondering where the 4 came from because I can think of a few answers to this question. So the first one would be to do with names and the first names and last names. Well, we do apply the 7 cases to names like we do to any other nouns. So Iza, Izy, Izie, z Izą, o Izie, dla Zuzi, pomóc Zuzi, o Zuzi, z Zuzią, z Kasią.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we apply the cases as we would with any other name. Of course, we then also have the diminutives. So Iza, Izunia, Iska. Oh God, I hate that one. We don't use that one. Zuzanka.
Yeah, Zuzanka, Zuzka.
Do you like Zuzanka?
Zuzanka I quite like actually.
Okay, like Zuzanka. My favorite is Zuzia.
Mm-hmm. And basically what you'll find in our documents would be Izabela, Zuzanna, Katarzyna. But people tend to call me Kasia or Kaśka.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually Izabela, Zuzanna, Katarzyna, but every day it's Iza, Zuzia, Kasia.
Mm-hmm. And when we're feeling very lovely, Izunia, Zuzanka,
Kasiunia.
Kasieńka.
Kasieńka. No one calls me Kasieńka.
Well then. Yeah, and then the other thing was surnames, I suppose, because so for a lot of surnames, especially the ones that end with ska or ska, well, it's going to be ska if you're a woman, it's going to be ski if you're a man, it's going to be scy when it's a family, a group of people, and it's going to be skie when it's ladies, when it's just girls. So it might be related to that. I think that's how I would answer the question.
Yeah, let's give an example. Lewandowski,
Mm-hmm.
pan Lewandowski, pani Lewandowska, państwo Lewandowscy.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about this most common surname ending with SKI, but obviously there are other surnames as well.
Yeah, but I would say that the surnames in Polish, they kind of behave like adjectives in Polish a little
That's
bit.
also true.
Right?
That's
'Cause
also
it's,
true.
let's say Lewandowska, that's the feminine, and then Lewandowski is the masculine.
Mm-hmm. Nie ma pani Lewandowskiej, nie ma pana Lewandowskiego. So you've got the adjective endings.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say that it's a lot more than 4 in the end, isn't it?
Yeah,
It is,
yeah.
unfortunately.
Even though some grammar cases have the same endings, right? So
Yours
you can
especially.
Yes.
you can have the dative Zuzi, but also the genitive Zuzi,
Mm-hmm.
right? The same for
And
Kasi.
also locative o Zuzi.
True that.
So
Yes.
in this case, but
So
it's
it
not
actually
always
might be
true.
4 if we count them all, right? It might be 4.
It all depends on
the
the
name,
words, on
yeah,
the name,
on the
masculine,
gender.
gender, and so on. Okay,
So we hope that answers your question.
I hope so. Next question. Śniadanie, lunch, obiad, kolacja. What's the usual timing for these meals? Which one is usually a heavy or a lighter meal? That one goes to you, Zuzia.
Okay, so I guess in Poland, like the heaviest meal would be obiad. Like that's what we associate with a heavy meal. And obiad is usually eaten around like 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. And it's like the traditional way to eat. And I guess nowadays we often have like lunch, which is like usually around noon. But otherwise, I think śniadanie, I mean...
It depends. It depends on family, I think.
Yeah.
What we eat and also what time we eat breakfast depends. But obiad is usually associated with early afternoon.
Yeah, yeah.
2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock for some people. Of course, depending on how your working hours. But if it's Sunday, niedzielny obiad, o której? O 3:00.
O 3:00,
O
tak.
2:00.
O 3:00.
But
Do familiady.
it can get quite confusing because obiad is translated into dinner in English, and then dinner in many countries is eaten around like 7 or 8 p.m.
Yeah.
So it's a bit different for us. But then the kolacja, what you mentioned in this question, I mean, we do use this name and we do eat kolacja, but it's not as important as śniadanie and obiad, I think I would say.
It's a smaller meal than
Yeah.
obiad. So an example of obiad, what would that be? For example, zupa pomidorowa.
Krupnik.
Rosół.
Drugie danie, ziemniaki, kotlet, surówka.
Yeah, that's the most classic Polish obiad you can have. Yeah. and then
That's as obiad as it gets.
and then szarlotka for dessert or
Yeah.
sernik.
Yeah. Talking about dessert, let's also say that you could call it deser.
Yeah.
But that meal that you could have after your obiad is called podwieczorek. Although we were thinking about it and we said that it's rather getting a bit outdated as a word.
Yeah,
Podwieczorek.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's a bit old-fashioned
I'd
to
say
say, "Hey, come round for podwieczorek." Like I would be really surprised if anyone said that to me. So
I think I'd love.
Na deser, na ciasto i kawę.
Tak,
rather
na
than
kawę,
na
na
podwieczorek.
herbatę.
yeah.
What do you guys eat for śniadanie, breakfast?
We are not typical, are we?
Yeah, but the typical thing to eat, I would say, is sandwiches. So
Kanapki.
Kanapki.
Jemy często kanapki. Co jeszcze?
na przykład kanapka z serem i z pomidorem, kanapka z szynką i z pomidorem. And then we also eat jajecznica.
Tak.
often.
Jemy jajecznicę,
And
jajka na twardo, jajka na miękko,
Grzanki.
tosty.
Tosty.
Yeah.
Płatki z mlekiem.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah, płatki z mlekiem.
No dobrze, to następne pytanie, numer 3. What would you say is a good approach to learning and applying the grammar cases in Polish? So I will try to answer this question. I think it's a good idea to learn different endings of cases as a pattern that will help you to speak better, speak more correctly, maybe make fewer mistakes. And what I tell my students to do is to remember a sentence, a very simple sentence as a pattern, and then once you remember it, you can easily apply it to other adjectives and nouns. For example, okay, your pattern might be kanapka z serem, for example, for instrumental, and then serem, once you remember this phrase, you remember the ending em, which is the most common because it works for masculine and neuter nouns for this particular case. So then you know that you will also say kanapka z pomidorem, kanapka z ogórkiem, kanapka z jajkiem. So I think these patterns might help you. But another thing is just to listen to Polish speakers as much as possible.
Yeah,
So
just to like repeat, practice. So I also just think you need to be very consistent with practicing and speaking and listening.
Yeah, I was gonna say that like the patterns are a good way to maybe give you a little bit more confidence to in order not to feel like you're completely improvising. But the thing is, because it's a language and it's such a difficult one, I think that there will be a lot of improvising. So I guess be open to messing it up and listen a whole bunch and refer back to the patterns that you know. But no, you're gonna mess it up at some point, and it's okay.
And it's okay, it's not to worry because we will understand you.
We'll understand you anyway.
If you mess up the ending, it's not a big deal.
Yeah. We mess them up sometimes.
Oh yeah, we do.
Yeah, we have doubts sometimes as well. No dobrze, to następne pytanie. Numer 4. How do Polish people learn their complex grammar? So this is somehow related, but maybe just more wide question.
Yeah, so that's an interesting question. So, okay, I mean, I think it goes without saying that when we learn to speak when we're little, we don't really think about it at all. We kind of take it as a given that there are different endings to words, that there are different verb forms, but we don't really think of it as such. It's just that we learn to use them. without thinking about it at all. We learn through repetition. And then once we get to school, we do end up learning about grammar, about different parts of speech and how to reconstruct or deconstruct a sentence, different cases, tenses, etc. So I would say that what actually happens is the process is the reverse of what a foreign language learner would do. So rather than learning the rules first and then speaking, we do the reverse. Yeah, I think that's what I would say. Would you add anything?
No, I think that answers the question very well. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but then when we're at school, that's when we finally get to understand why the endings are the way they are. And
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's when we actually learn that there are cases and they have certain names and what the patterns are.
Yeah.
But you already know it. You already know how to use them without this language awareness, which you get later.
We do also put a lot of emphasis on spelling because there are a lot of irregularities as well as a lot of rules to follow. So like back in early primary school, I do remember a lot of emphasis being put on that, right?
yeah.
Yeah, but that's another thing.
Okay. Numer 5. How do you think young native Polish people would feel about me, a native English-speaking Canadian, if I visited Poland and was speaking Polish?
I think they would be very happy, definitely very impressed. Some people would also be very surprised.
Mm-hmm.
We don't expect it.
Yeah, it's not very common to see foreigners speak Polish because, well, most of us can speak English, especially if you go to a big city, so it's not really that big of a problem if you just, don't speak the language, but I think we would be very happy, so like, don't worry about making mistakes, just go for it, because that's the best way to learn, we would say. Yeah.
So people might tell you, będzie nam bardzo miło, o jesteśmy pod wrażeniem. Jestem pod wrażeniem, kiedy ktoś mówi po polsku.
Tak, pod dużym wrażeniem.
Numer 6. Are you planning to set up online lessons for learners? Yes, we are. Actually, I already have my lessons, my schedule added to a website which is linked in the description below. This website, Buy Me a Coffee. We basically also use it to put some worksheets and our lesson availability. Mine are already there. Isa, yours are going to be...
Yeah, mine are in the making. It's also going to happen.
Or maybe by the time that this video comes out, they will already be there. So, yeah.
That's a good point.
Dobrze, to następne pytanie. What's the playlist for people to start learning Polish?
Well, we have two playlists. One of them is called Polish Basics and the other one is Polish for Beginners. So I think just start with those. And we also have, what's the name of this? The Polish podcast for beginners. I think these are the types of videos that you can also just listen to and you don't have to watch them at the same time. So
But
you
it's
can
the
try
same
them out.
content.
Yeah, it's the same content. Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, basically Polish for beginners is more grammar oriented, whereas Polish basics are more phrases, useful phrases.
yeah, that's true.
To start with. And if you start from the oldest and you move forward, then we're starting from easy things and building it up
Yeah,
as we go.
progressing difficulty.
To następne pytanie. Is the form tobą always a capital letter?
Oh, me. Okay. The second person singular or plural, so we have ty and we have wy, and any other case form that comes out of that, so tobą, tobie, ciebie, was, z wami, wam, cie, ci, all of those. So basically, when you're addressing someone in writing, yes, they should have a capital letter in the beginning. And people do follow it, though, I mean, I know I'm sometimes guilty of conveniently forgetting to make it a capital letter, but that's besides the point. So yes, in writing, when you're addressing someone, particularly if it's like an official formal piece of writing, then yes, definitely use it. Now, you won't see it written with a capital letter when it's more like a story, so when you're reading a book. Basically, when the writing is not directly addressing someone. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Would you add anything?
I would just say that it's a form of showing respect.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So mainly letters, emails.
We also don't do what English does, which is that the I form, so first person singular, it's not a capital letter, in case you're wondering.
Unless you start a
Unless you
sentence
start a sentence with it.
Yeah. I ostatnie pytanie. And let's use the final question as a summary because it's about tips for learning the basics quite quickly. So what could we say here?
I think, like we mentioned before, like consistency, really making it, a weekly or a daily thing to watch, listen to podcasts, watch videos, and speak whenever you can. I think that's the fastest way to get you across to a higher level. Yeah.
And from a learner's point of view, I might also add that it's good to rewatch things because watching something once is often not enough. This repetition really helps you. So if you find something that you really like, if you find a speaker that you really like or a channel that you like to follow, why not watch it more than once? Yeah? Or a series or
as many
whatever
times
it
as you
is.
feel like.
And also do things that bring you joy. Don't perhaps focus on things which you would happily put off. Instead, do some more fun activities with the language, whatever brings you joy. Some examples? Maybe?
I don't know, maybe watching a series that you would normally watch anyway, but just try the subtitles in Polish and then maybe switch entirely to Polish after some time.
Yeah, to this I would add that don't worry if you can't understand everything, because I feel like this is something that people say that I come across a lot, which is that, oh no, I can't have both the subtitles and the audio in the language that I'm learning because I don't understand everything. It doesn't matter. 50% is good enough. Even less than that is good enough, isn't it? Yeah.
So maybe not to make it frustrating, it's a good thing to watch it first in your own language and then watch it one more time in Polish.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
You still enjoy because you enjoy the story, but you know what it is about, so it's not frustrating if you understand 50% of it, you still know what it is about.
Yeah.
But I would say, like, all of us are learning another language, like right now. So Isa is learning Portuguese. I'm learning Spanish.
I'm learning Greek.
So, like, we use these techniques as well. Like, I watch YouTube videos in Spanish, like the comprehensible input ones. I find these really helpful.
Me too, yeah.
And I also used to watch a lot of Spanish series when I, back a few years ago. So that was really helpful as well.
Yeah, it was a whole moment, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I remember that was a good time.
Yeah.
And we do have some comprehensible input videos, like we have more and more of these for you.
So just a hint.
I think that's it for the questions. So again, dziękujemy bardzo za 10 000 subskrybentów. Subscribers. Thank you for watching all of our videos and also this one. And I guess we'll see you in the next one.
Dziękujemy bardzo.
Dziękujemy.
Dzięki.
Pa, pa.
I do zobaczenia.
Cześć.
Cześć.
Cześć. Tu Zuzia.
Cześć.
Myślałam, że ja mówię druga.
Let's start with the first question that we got from Pełne poparcie.